fight of rugby league in their history, but their place is threatened this year like never before. Just 3 Super League wins all year, and the relegation trapdoor is creaking. Points are vital then, but they are for Wigan too, for different reasons. For them, the playoffs beckon. Wasn't it a magnificent match at St Helens 24 hours ago? And the Saints' victory has closed the gap on the Bulls at the top. Leeds beat Wakefield, Hull won at Castleford, so Wigan are under pressure for the win now, they're 5th. But look at the foot of the table, so too are Warrington. Adrian Lamb is the captain of Wigan tonight in the continuing absence of Andrew Farrell. Farrell missing only his 2nd match in 2 years. Are Wigan the same without him? It's a question that these fans will want answering tonight. Warrington Wolves, though, this the first of 13 games that will have an enormous impact on the club's long-term future. And their support remains rock solid, remarkably, considering all the trials and tribulations that this club has gone through over the years. And what a lovely moment for that young man, walking out hand in hand with Lee Breers. Wolfie, their mascot, is here and ready, and so are the 2 teams. Big night for Warrington, big night for Wigan. Stuart Raper was with us last night and saw St Helens beat the Bradford Bulls. All around them won as well. Steve Ganson is tonight's big match referee. Remember him in the Wigan-Warrington game at the start of last season? He sent Toa Koilov off, and it was a real bruiser of a game. Julian O'Neill gets this match underway, and to bring it back on the first tackle is Mark Hilton. Big night for these two.
Certainly is, and you mentioned the official, Steve Ganson. He'll be looking for a big game as well, and not the horror one, as you've just mentioned. Because yet they still have not selected the referee to go down and officiate in that Australia versus Great Britain match. So Mr. Ganson will be looking for a superb evening.
Let's take a check on the 2 teams. This is Warrington. They have Ulstead at fullback, Smythe, Burns, Westwood on his home debut, Halliwell, Breers and Wood on his home debut, the 2 newcomers from Wakefield. Up front it's Hilton, Clark and Lawton, Fossard, Marquette and Domick. And their substitutes are Penny, Gise, Wood and Noon. Coach, David Plans. Good chase on the kick downfield by Warrington. Wigan, Radlinski, Carney, Connolly, Johnson, Ainscoe, O'Neill and Lamb, the captain. Forwards are Connor, Newton, Smith, Cassidy returning, Ferner and young Sean O'Loughlin. He fills in Andrew Farrell's boots. Howard, Wild, Bybee and Tickle are on the bench. Tickle, the new man, bought from Halifax.
Pretty solid defence there, Eddie, by Warrington. They're really fired up for this one. It's an amazing situation. They have not hit their straps this year of the Wolves, but they do have a tendency over the past couple of seasons to really lift their game for the big ones. None bigger than this, Warrington-Wigan.
Well, they won this match, this corresponding fixture, last year, and they had a victory in their last home game against Wakefield. But last year's win was their first in 4 years against Wigan. And Warrington have a penalty which Breers deposits into touch. David Plans, the Warrington coach, hoping that tonight could be the night that he picks up his 3rd win since he took over. Before him, of course, it was Steve Anderson. Steve Anderson news this week that he is now in rugby union in Glasgow. Fossard's on the charge.
Good run, but a great tackle there by David Ferner. It had to be as well.
John Clark's the dummy half. Here is Lee Breers, man with a point to prove, not included in the Australian party. Domick offload. Good defence now on show from Warrington. It was Burns' run. He plays the ball to Clark. Here is Domick. And Domick almost through. They have 2 tackles left in the bag to Warrington. Clark, back to Breers. He'll hoist the kick out wide. This is a tester for Carney. Westwood's after it. Carney palms it back.
Could have been offside, and he is. He's caught him.
Johnson stood in front of the man, Carney.
Well, it was all at sea there, Carney. There was plenty of players around him. Warrington obviously feel, and their coach David Plans, that the Irishman Carney, no doubt about the fact that he was stood in front. but they feel that maybe the Irishman is a bit of a problem.
Here now is Domic. Domic having a devil's own job to pull him down, but Connolly does, and he's actually stolen the ball. Connolly, as he does so often, it was one-on-one, and Connolly's upper body strength has come to Wigan's rescue again.
That was a real pressure play. Look at that, took it away from Domic. Got great upper body strength, absolutely superb as the centre there, Gary Connolly. Well noted throughout the rugby league circles all over the world as the strongest upper body strength in the game. Wonderful strength in those arms.
Well, he got a try in the 50-20, their last win here in September 2000 for Wigan. So they haven't tasted victory on this ground for a wee while. And it's a good start, a bright start by Warrington here. Good on defence, good on attack, and that's a kick on the last by Wigan Warriors. Oh, and it bounces off Olsted's knees. Olsted operating at full back tonight, but a wonderful chase led by the skipper, Adrian Lamb.
Well, it took an eternity there, David Olsted. It was a bobbling ball all over the joint. Finally got there in the end. Wigan chase was good, it's strong.
Pozzard, who was a star of the Origin match. Nick Pozzard, he's done really well this year. His Yorkshire selection, it crowned his comeback.
And it's amazing, Eddie, when they do get that little bit of a lift in representative football, how it can help them at club level too.
Mark Hilton, another man who came back to the Origin scene, the representative scene, after dreadful injury problems. But the kick downfield was Breers wasn't good. It has arrived in the arms of Radlinski, and he's given it to Carney, and that's a very good tackle by Danny Halliwell. Johnson, the dummy half, Radlinski. This now is Craig Smith. Screams for a forward pass from the terraces. It never was.
Well, it looked 50-50. To be fair, he just overstepped it with the big prop forward.
Terry O'Connor, who won the Roy Powell medal as man of the series in the Origin, gets to his feet, plays the ball. This is Terry Newton. Newton goes round Clark. Beautiful offload to Lamb. Just went behind the on-rushing player there, who was a Lachlan. Found Connolly, but Connolly's pass only finds the touchline. Problems for Stuart Raper early on here. He doesn't think, I believe, that Wigan have really hit their straps yet. He said that last night.
He knows there's still a lot of work to do, and Ainscough, you can see that he was thinking about going back on the inside. Lack of understanding between the centre and the winger. Well, you mentioned Stuart Raper, Eddie. It's not been a happy hunting ground, this Wilderspool, for him in the past.
No, just 2 victories in 6 visits here, either as coach of Castleford or Wigan.
So he knows it's going to be tough.
And Warrington do have this habit of lifting for the big matches.
They certainly do, and if they keep the defence as solid as what we've seen in the opening 6 minutes, David Plange may well be thinking about his 4th victory.
Well, they beat Wigan here a year ago, as I say, 47-38. They started brightly again. This is Domic. John Clark, former Wigan hooker, waits at dummy half. Finds Nathan Wood. Wood then to Breers. Pozzard bounces over the top of Burner, and he'll try and take on Radlinski. There was support either side. Here, though, is Nathan Wood. Now it's with Lee Breers. Wide it goes to Halliwell. Great defence from Carney. Terrific tackle from Brian Carney, the Irish international.
Stood his ground, but that would have lifted the coach, David Plange's spirit. Used the dummy outlay, but that is wonderful play there by Carney. He left him a little bit of a gap to go through, but you can see before he touched the ball down, the corner flag had gone over. Good work from that fellow.
Ever present, Brian Carney this year. It is in fact his 41st consecutive appearance for the Wigan Warriors. Lamb gets possession from the scrum. This now is Johnson. Johnson, one of 5 men from Wigan who will be on the plane to Australia next Friday. Head-to-head over the years, you can see Wigan with overwhelming advantage, and they also have pretty good record here at Warrington, and in Super League, well, it's overwhelming. It's been Wigan all the way, but not for the last season here. Lamb on the bounce, picks it up. O'Neill. A good challenge by Westwood. Oh, but he got the ball away, did O'Neill. Got it away brilliantly to Cassidy.
Good refereeing there by Steve Ganson. He did not shout hell. He could see that there was still movement.
Here's O'Neill again. Hilton gets hold of him, and with Westwood.
Interesting to see how Julian O'Neill has been utilised as a centre, not playing in the standoff role at all.
That's a great kick. Ainscough is head and shoulders. There's a little nudge there. Radlinski's in under the post.
He'll go for the screen for this, I'm sure.
He will. There was a little nudge by Ainscough on the defender. Well, he wants to know if he's onside or offside, but I think there was also a push in the back of the Warrington defender.
Well, I think he's onside. The wide shot will prove that. That's okay. There certainly was a touch. Now, if you're both running in the same direction, you can use your shoulder, and I think that will be the reason why this try will be given. They're both going for the football, and you're allowed to nudge and use the shoulder and the arm and the forearm. If you grab and pull back, that is against the rule. This will be TRY. He wants to see if he's onside.
There's no doubt about that.
Well, I think so. And he wants to see the nudge. Now then, does he grab? They're both looking for the ball. I don't think there was a push. We'll see better here. Was there a push? No, he's got his arm underneath. He was looking for the ball. I can't see there was enough power. And that's been taken well by Ainscough. I think they'll give this one.
Well, David Campbell is tonight's video referee. What's his version of the events? The try to Wigan is given. It's the first real test of the Warrington defence with ball in air. And Ainscough was head and shoulders above Rob Smythe, and Radlinski in support.
Well, not many opportunities for the Warriors, but it was a beautiful kick high from Adrian Lamb. Charging through. They really should have dropped back a lot quicker than that. They were caught out on that right-hand side. And Radlinski, as he so often has done over the years, Ainscough took it ever so well. And the full-back gleefully accepted it. But Warrington were caught out there. They should have had the winger way back into the corner.
Well, he seems to enjoy playing on this ground, Chris Radlinski, doesn't he? Who's now through 150 career tries following his effort against Wakefield last week. Now, Julian O'Neill is taking the goal-kicking responsibilities tonight, not David Ferner. Ferner, who is a renowned goal-kicker back home. And O'Neill, from bang in front, places the ball on the roof of the stand behind the posts. Wigan have the 6-0 lead, even though it's been Warrington who've had greater possession.
Well, that's the ball in the air, and that's where Smythe, he should be where the asterisk is. He should have run right back into that corner. And Ainscough took it gleefully. Wonderful position, though, by the fullback. He's in top form, and we certainly need him.
Breer's restart underneath it. Radlinski. O'Connor drives the ball forward. Magnificent in the Origin series, Terry O'Connor, and a great written call-up. This now is Ferner through one, through two, not through the third. And the third was Paul Marquette. Clark to Craig Smith in the headgear tonight, the New Zealand international prop forward for Wigan. A try against Warrington in April. Quick hands from Wigan. Adrian Lamb, that's a knock-on.
Yep. And again, not too crash short on the handling department at the moment from Wigan, but they did take their opportunity. Was under a lot of pressure there by Rob Smythe, who again came in from the whitewash. He took the gamble. There was a gap out wide. I must say, Warrington coach David Plange has done a fine job with a limited amount of players, but they worked so hard and then they just go to sleep. They fell asleep on that try there for sure.
Well, and there's a mistake from Westwood in the very first tackle. And there is a feeling amongst Warrington supporters that the matches...
Oh, that was a high one from Westwood.
The matches that Warrington are involved in generally are lost by half-time. This is Craig Smith.
You can't fault that effort, that's for sure. But you need more than effort at this standard of rugby league.
Terry O'Connor again driving forward. Domick and Clark, though, bringing him down. Newton to Radlinski. Now it's with Julian O'Neill. He misses out Ferner and finds Johnson. Good tackle by Danny Halliwell, on loan here at Warrington from Halifax. Now Carney. Halliwell again first to him. It's the left tackle here for Wigan. And they will come the short side. Good quick hands. Oh! chance was begging, and Furner could only find the touch judge.
Well, a little bit too fancy there. Obviously has been the ploy by that man, Stuart Raber, to keep the ball alive, and that's the reason why you can see that they're using Julie O'Neill in a wider position. Got the pass from David Furner. Holds his hands up to his teammates and says sorry, and rightly so.
Big hit then on Dale Lawton. And Craig Smith all over the top of the grounded player, who was Darren Burns. It's with Domick now. Domick certainly has been a lively character. He's featured in every match this year for Warrington, the former Australian under-19 international.
Well, I rate him as the Wolves' best player throughout this year. He never stopped running. A real workhorse.
Pozzard now, talking of workhorses. O'Neill and Furner bring him down. It's the last one. And that's a kick over the top by Nathan Wood. And Ainscough not interested, just allows it to bounce and find the touchline. So the scrum will be put down.
Not the best kick. Certainly didn't want anything to do with that. Ainscough has all the experience in the world. Nathan Wood, of course, his combination with Lee Breers, such an important factor for this Warrington side. But it's interesting to note that they're doing the trio of Ben Westwood, Lee Breers and Nathan Wood has taken the first man, interchanging. At present, it hasn't fooled this Wigan defence.
This is Craig Smith, and Westwood stood his ground, there's no doubt about that. He looked at the referee, thought that Smith was leading with the forearm. Here now is David Furner. Lawton gets him low down, and he's finished off by Mark Hilton. It's Newton to Lamb. This is the danger man, and O'Connor big hit. And he's lost the ball. A huge hit by Mark Hilton.
We'll talk about reading the script. Mark Hilton did, and O'Connor knows it. Back on the inside, and if ever a man said, I know exactly what's going to happen here, it was that fella. A big grin all over his face. Said, how did you enjoy that, Terry?
Okay, here we go.
Well, a remarkable comeback from injury when he played for Lancashire for Mark Hilton. This is Westwood on as a substitute in the Origin game was Ben Westwood. For Yorkshire, this is Domick.
Well done, Wigan.
Well, they've got the lead, Wigan, 6-0, but they've had 5 handling errors, and that will not be pleasing their coach, Stuart Raper.
Good tackle from Furner then. Clark. And here's Hilton again. It's solid, the Wigan defence so far, though. Breers will attack the line. Now off the chest of Westwood again.
Just delayed it a little bit too much there, and it allowed Wigan the ability to just pick out the man. Breers hanging on to the ball a little bit too late. They could do better service if they stand a little bit deeper, come onto the ball. They're very flat. It's amazing how a lot of the coaches these days use a very flat attacking system.
Okay.
So Wigan have the head and feet at the scrum. Of course, buoyed this year by the Challenge Cup being in the cabinet at the JJB Stadium, their first trophy in 4 years. And this is Ainscough, who's through on the burst, and Ainscough will score underneath the post. A beautiful pass that set him free, and the pass came from Cassidy.
And it was a pearler. Absolute pearler, running with a lot of venom. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. Hit the line and offloaded at the most superb opportunity. That was classy football. He threw in a little step there as well to the second rower. And Ainscough, an easy run to the line. Created by this fella. Look at that, beautiful step. Back on. And the winger gleefully accepts it. A missed tackle, but that was a superb effort from Cassidy.
It was, and Ainscough backing up, and there's a big hole there. And he knows his way to the try line. He's suddenly started to hit top form as Jamie Ainscough. A 1999 Grand Final winner with St George Illawarra, or rather a Grand Final appearance with St George Illawarra when they lost to the Melbourne Storm for Jamie Ainscough. Hoping to go one better this year with the Wigan Warriors. Well, O'Neill has had no great test of his kicking. This is the second one from bang in front. Missed only a couple of games this season so far, O'Neill. Made no mistake with that. The first conversion hit the roof of that stand. That one sailed over and onto the railway line.
There you can see the man going back on the left-hand side. Cassidy knew it, but there was a huge gap there. Very slow to get through. But this guy knew exactly what his second row partner was going to do.
Okay, outside, boys.
That's a classy effort.
Okay, mate.
Substitute against Wakefield last week in a try also for Ainscope. The kick-off deep into the corner will be run back by Carney.
Was a good move, you know, Eddie, from the coach Stuart Raper to Jamie Ainscope. Likes to play in the centres, but I think he's just got a little bit lost in the English style of football, and he's playing a lot better playing out on the wing.
This is Ferner for Wigan, and he's nearly through again. Eventually clattered to the floor. Well, a great start by Warrington. They were eager. They were getting stuck in the tackling, but Phil Clark, Wigan, with the important 12 points on the board.
Yeah, probably showing the class. I think for me the big difference between the two sides in the opening quarter is the kicking ability of Adrian Lamb. He's got some deep downfield kicks that's given them good field position, and then of course his bomb was the cause for the first try, and really just class from Jamie Ainscope. I thought it was wonderful footwork from Mick Cassidy, how he got in and away from his man and just got the arm free. He seems to be back to his best already.
Olstead took that well. Not a regular fullback, David Olstead, but this is the third in a row that he has operated as Warrington's last line of defence.
Well, it was hardly copybook, but he got away with it. There was no pressure there. He was actually on his way back down when he took the ball.
Smith and Ferner combining well there to bring Darren Burns down.
A big hit.
Oh,
Sean O'Loughlin threw in a big one.
And Tomic has taken off the scrum cap. Must be a little bit warm out there. The last tackle, and Nathan Wood plants the ball over the top, but it's easy that for Radlinski. Just on one bounce straight into his arms, and he's away from Burns. Well, he thought he was. Burns and Smythe eventually. Smythe got a bang on the head.
Certainly did. But they just seem to have lost their way a little bit now, Warrington, in this defensive pattern.
Here's Cassidy again.
Some are moving up. There's quite a few others just hanging back.
This is Terry O'Connor again. John Clark was first to greet him.
What a workhorse this fella is. He's back to his best, Terry O'Connor.
Craig Smith, Radlinski, linking well with O'Neill, and here is Johnson. Breers gets him. The tackle was completed. And that was O'Neill who dabbed the ball down the line, and he finds touch the right side of the corner flag.
Well, obviously a ploy by that fella to keep O'Neill out wide, and that was good thinking. Got the right bounce. It's all about utilising the pressure, and if there's nowhere to go, no point in just banging the ball up in the air to no avail, and really utilising this short blind side. They'll try to pressurise now the Wolves into coming up with the error. I must say it's Wigan that's produced most of those in the first 20 minutes.
No Dallas, Farrell, as we have said, or David Hodgson tonight for Wigan. And Warrington, well, they've only scored 47 tries this year, and Salford are the only team that scored less. There's Andy Farrell in the stand, groin problem. Everybody hoping he will be back next weekend to prove his fitness for the Australia Test match for Great Britain, the squad which he will captain on the trip down under. And that's a 40-20 attempt from Breers. It's a cracker.
He's a fine exponent of the 40-20 is this fella. Not much of it. But the swinging leg. It is such a wonderful rule, Nick. I don't know who it was that invented it, but full credit to him.
And full credit to Lee Breers for exploiting it. The Welsh international saw there was a gap down the right-hand side of the Wigan defence. And don't forget, 12th of July at 10 on Sky Sports 1, you'll see Australia, Great Britain, hopefully with Andrew Farrell leading them. Primetime replays, one at 5 o'clock and on Sky Sport 3 at 9 the same evening. This is Olstead now for Warrington. They look to respond to the two early Wigan tries. Clark's the dummy half. They're all offside. They shot out of the line then. He takes it quickly. Wood fires the ball to Breers. Breers then to Westwood. This is Halliwell who's bombed the try.
Not the best pass, to be fair, to Danny Halliwell. He went close early in the game, and they could see that sucked Carney in, but it was just behind the winger. Full work, though, to the centre, Paul Johnson. He knew, and so did this fella, David Plants, that the opportunity had gone. Not the best pass. If it had been in front, I don't think Paul Johnson would have got to him. Oh, he can't believe it.
So close. That was the reaction of coach David Plange when the ball came off the arms of Olstead. I beg your pardon, Halliwell. Nice flick pass from Newton, but Cassidy was in all sorts of trouble. He simply couldn't get away from Dale Lawton. Here is Adrian Lamb now. He's gone for the 40-20. That's a great kick from him as well.
Oh, Perla.
Well, yeah. Whatever you can do, Lee Breers, I can do. An immediate response from Lamb.
This is a wonderful kick. Oh, one bounce and it's over. Well, there's not much of both of them, is there? Lee Breers and this fella, Mr. Lamb, but it's all about technique. It's like the golf shots. He'll be quite happy, and rightly so, 12-0. Not many opportunities coming Wigan's way, but the two they've had, they've certainly turned them into points.
Well, this is another opportunity for Wigan. 23.5 minutes on the clock. And they get possession inevitably from the base of the scrum. O'Neill, it goes wide to Connolly. He's through the gap. And Olstead with an important tackle. And Connolly nearly tried to roll that ball over the line. Ainge goes the dummy half. They give it a bit of width now to Craig Smith. He's surrounded, though, by white jerseys.
Smith came a little bit too early then. He was flat-footed when he received the football.
Just lost a little bit of ground, Wigan, but still in very dangerous territory for Warrington. O'Loughlin, that's a good hit. And it's swooped on by Nathan Wood.
What a cruncher.
O'Loughlin just couldn't hang on to that. And here now is Fozzard as Warrington tried to spin from defence to attack.
Oh, wonderful play by the winger.
Great hit from Halliwell.
Yep.
Good ball from Breers then.
Well, that'll lift their spirits. They were just in a little bit of a lull. They needed something extra, and that certainly has provided it. Looks as though Ben Westwood.
No, Nathan Wood it is.
Is it Nathan Wood?
Yes.
Having a few problems.
Good play from Warrington, good hands. Well, it's amazing, a big hit like that, and it does lift the spirits of a team. And Olstead calls for the kick through. Carney is surrounded. He gets away from one, gets away from two, gets away from three. What a very good run from Carney to relieve the pressure. And he's still not tucked. He's still not tucked, I was about to say.
Good referee in that. Carney thought that he could get away with it, but what a wonderful effort. Talk about luck of the Irish. He was spinning round and round. He would have been dizzy if he'd gone into open space. He probably would have fallen over anyway. Oh, that's good quick play, the ball. Look how they get the ball out wide. The sliding defence could have been caught then.
This is Craig Smith. Gets over halfway for Wigan. Plays the ball to Johnson. Back it goes to O'Neill. Here's the kick. Another high one to test Olstead. And Olstead will let this bounce. And this time the ball bounced kindly for Warrington over the dead ball line.
Well, Olstead will be relieved about that. Plenty of height. He should have been in a better position. So often we've seen the ball, if you allow it to bounce, it can create all sorts of problems for you. But you just get the feeling now that Warrington need to make a good break, apply the pressure and go through their sets of 6.
Well, for all this possession that they're having, they really need to score.
Yep.
Just to lift their confidence still further. And here is Domick trying to make inroads into the Wigan defence. Clark. Wood wanted it and got it. Spins, offloads to Clark. Low pass was well picked up there by Marquette. But Warrington or Wigan, neither side completing their sets. This is Darren Burns. Flicks the ball back. Oh, knock on.
No advantage. advantage.
Warrington knock on, no advantage.
Well, it was Pozzard that tried to get down onto the football, but good work by Darren Burns. He was hoping that someone was close to him. Nathan Wood was hanging around, and that's probably one of the reasons why I never went into coaching, Eddie.
Well, I'll tell you something, that little box at the back of the Brian Bevan stand over on that far side, it takes some stick from Warrington coaches. We've seen Darrell van der Velde many times bashing things around, and now David Flange looks as though he's picked up the cudgels as well. I think Brian Johnson threw a headset out there, didn't he, once, way back as well?
He certainly did. If it was a red wine, I don't think I'd want to drink it. They say they don't travel well, but there's been quite a few gone in and out of that box.
Well, Darren Burns was injured in that attack, and that's why he's receiving treatment. Burns is actually operating in the centres, despite the fact he's got number 11 on his back. The referee allowing the Warrington physio to treat him.
And to be fair to Darren Burns, he had a good offload about 5 or 6 minutes ago, which nearly produced a try for the Wolves.
The conflab between coach and assistant coach of Wigan. Stuart Raper, John Keir. Lamb comes down the short side with Johnson. Tackled by Halliwell. Here's Carney again. Real live wire on this wing is Brian Carney.
Well, the Warrington side have to start realising that they've got to go for his legs, Carney.
Harvey Howard's on. Newton to O'Connor. O'Connor drags Wigan to halfway. Newton, Lamb, showed it to O'Neill, gave it to Ferner. Ball has come out. Now then, knock on which way? First one, and it'll go against Wigan.
Ferner couldn't handle that. Not a bad little move. Lamb coming across, showing the dummy, and just offloaded pretty late. And it is. Ferner lost control. It was going forward.
Wood feeds the scrum. Gives the ball then to Alstead. Radlinski's after him. Burns, dummy half. Domick takes it up again. The ever-willing worker for Warrington. John Clark. Now then Hilton. Wigan's defence is up and in the face of the ball carrier all the time. Clark again. Wood with a bit of space though. Breers. What can he conjure up here? Good tackle by O'Neill.
Certainly was. Wasn't going to take the dummy on that occasion.
Ben Westwood scored a couple of tries last week in the heat of the south of France on his debut against the London Broncos in defeat. Breers with a high kick out wide.
It's a good one too.
That's palmed back and picked up brilliantly. Alstead, Burns.
Oh, beautiful effort. But they were not going to be getting points on the board with that. They did well, Burns, to get to it. Had the opportunity. Wide held on just a little bit too long.
Well, they're threatening the line, aren't they? But they're not piercing and penetrating. And Burns needing running repairs. Harvey Howard.
Running repairs.
Running repairs.
Oh, repairs now.
Lamb has gone for another 40-20.
What a beauty. What a wonderful effort yet again. That's the second of the match. Doesn't have to go to the screen for this one. Oh yeah. Well.
He changed his mind.
I'm going to say he put out the right hand. I think he just lost the plot there, did Steve Ganson. He could knock me down with a feather then. He was well inside.
To be fair to him, he said immediately 40-20, but he pointed at the Warrington side.
And a bit of a smile from the captain, Lee Breers, saying, "You got that wrong, sir." He said, "Yeah, I know, get on with it."
He didn't get the decision wrong. O'Neill, Ainscough. Oh, he slipped the net of Smythe. It's easy. That's poor defence from Rob Smythe. Second try for Jamie Ainscough. And that was a great result for Wigan after the wonderful kick from Adrian Lamb. But I'm afraid to say that Rob Smythe will not want to see this very often. But Stuart Raper is quite animated now. And Ainsco's second try, and there's real daylight between the two teams.
Well, this is the second occasion that this guy has put up the 40-20. It's also the second occasion that Rob Smythe has been in the wrong place at the wrong time and not come up with it. He came off the line, took the gamble. You've got to be so confident if you're going to go for the man. Watch him go, spin right out, and if you don't hit him first time, good work by Ainscough. He paddled off 2 on his way to the line. It had to be scored. It may look simple, but it wasn't. There's the first paddle, there's the second one, and in for the try. Good effort. Number 2 for Ainscough, and a little nudge to John Keir from the coach Stuart Raper. We're on our way.
First time that Jamie Ainscough has scored 2 tries in Wigan's colours. Now then, this is a tester for Julian O'Neill. First 2 conversions bang in front of the post. Look where he is now. That's the angle he has. And, well, this young man who won a cap for Australia in the Super League days in 1997, the Super League days down under, of course, with this 3rd conversion attempt. But that one is not anywhere near the mark. Wigan are ahead, though, by 16 points to 0.
Well, I mentioned earlier that Stuart Raper utilising this fellow way out amongst the centres. Of course, that's the position that this man normally takes, Andy Farrell.
And that's the goal kicking that man normally does. But he normally maybe hits it a bit better than that. Ainscough, though, with the 2 tries. Wigan with a 16-0 cushion. And Warrington now, well, they will be desperate to score before half-time.
They've got to be a little bit more adventurous of Warrington. Got to try a little bit more angle running and a lot more support play and play the ball a lot quicker. That's the one advantage that Wigan have got. They want to get on with it.
Terry Newton, he's on his own. And he flicks the ball back. O'Neill is the man who tidies up for Wigan again. And eventually O'Neill is grounded. Hilton round the ankles and Fozzard, and O'Neill didn't like that. This is Cassidy. This fella's causing havoc.
Well, I don't think I've seen this Mick Cassidy do as many sidesteps in a game.
Lovely dab over the top into open space. Radlinski's after this. Olsted did well. He was very brave then.
Wonderful effort by the fullback Olsted. He knew that the boot was coming at him from Chris Radlinski.
Well, that could have been a flop by O'Neill.
Super stuff there.
Jerome Guisset, the French international, tackled by David Ferner, former Australian international.
It was good thinking as well. A little chip over the top. And David Olsted was a little bit deep, expecting a longer kick. Oh, that looked forward. Held on to that far too late.
Marquette played the ball. Wood. Breers now. Olsted. Olsted, well, they've just run out of options and ideas there, Warrington, for a moment. Just got in each other's way. It's the turnover.
They are losing it, Eddie.
Tackle, yes.
Which is surprising, especially with the likes of Lee Breers out there. He knows what's needed. Oh, good offload.
Yes,
yet
he did
again.
brilliantly, Khan. He got it to Newton, who in turn gives it to O'Loughlin. He slips the net of Nathan Wood. Nearly got away from Fozzard as well. It's a good job that Guisset and Hilton were there. Here now is O'Connor. Shoulder into the chest of John Clark, who's hurt.
Well, you can see the power of this fella Terry O'Connor, but the most important factor is that they're sucking the players in and the defenders and then getting the ball out wide very quickly indeed.
O'Neill. Marquette with a good tackle.
Come on.
Johnson. Lamb. Here is Ricky Bybee. He offloads. It goes back on the bounce to Radlinski. Radlinski running it. Oh, another missed tackle. Good ball to Connolly. O'Loughlin pops it back to Ainscough on a hat-trick. Flicked over the top to Bybee. Oh, great stuff from Wigan. Harvey Howard's got a hole up the middle here. Thought about offloading.
Yeah, Lamb was just on the right-hand side.
Good to watch, but not if you're a Warrington fan. It's with O'Loughlin. A dab over the top for Cassidy. Straddled in, though, by...
Good work from Darren Burns there. Look at that. Threw it out. They didn't want to have any risk that perhaps Cassidy was going to steal the ball from him, which he can do one-on-one. Burns took the right option. He's in the wards, though. Got a problem with that left wrist.
There's a few of them in the wars because John Clark, I think he might have damaged the shoulder in the tackle earlier. Well, we've got 4 minutes or thereabouts to half-time. It's dangerous territory for Warrington, this, isn't it, Phil? Wigan can usually strike back right on the bell.
Yeah, they've looked real class when they've had the chance to score, and this is the perfect position here now, the drop-out set. I would imagine we're going to practice a variety of options that they'll work through here. They've got dangerous sides both left and right now, and they're looking to exploit that. I just think Adrian Lamb's been the star player for them so far. And Mick Cassidy, as Steve all said, well, while he's been out with that dislocated shoulder, he's certainly worked with his footwork.
No, indeed not. Here's O'Loughlin.
Well, you can see this Warrington defence, they're a bit confused now. They were eager in the opening minutes, but now they're hanging back. They wanted to find out what the opposition is going to do with the ball, and it's always very dangerous.
It's with Carney, who's looked a real live wire. Such a difficult man to put down. Low centre of gravity.
Well, all you got to do is go for the legs. They've failed to do that every time he's had the football.
5-2 to Radlinski. And
no support.
Good tackle by Nathan Wood. It's the last one. Newton back to Lamb. He's going to go for a one-pointer, and he stretched the lead. Adrian Lamb has shone out here like a beacon for Wigan.
Well, it just shows you what leadership is all about. He's the captain today in the absence of Andy Farrell. No fuss, no worry. Give me the ball. It's on the lads. Simple. Sounds it. But he has all the experience in the world, this fella.
Last drop goal for Adrian Lamb came at Murrayfield in the Challenge Cup final victory over St Helens. It has stretched the lead here at Wilderspool to 17-0, right on the half-time siren. Well, they do normally score, or they have a habit of scoring just before half-time, Wigan, but usually 4 points.
I think they'll settle for the one.
Yes.
It's good basic rugby league from this Wigan outfit.
I think that David Plange will want to get at his Warrington team during the half-time breather.
Well, the centre of the field defence is
Bybee, that's come out, and it was stolen.
Well, he works hard, doesn't he, fella? Nick Fozzard involved in the big tackle. He really was a revelation, wasn't he, in the Origin game? Great to see. Oh. Getting tasty.
Well, that wasn't played properly, but there again, Guisset was all over the back of Bybee. Here is Lamb, gives it width and finds Radlinski. There is O'Loughlin. Here now is Connolly. They're through them again. Radlinski's going to score, is he? Yes. Second try for Radlinski, and they have got the 4 points right on half-time, as they threaten so often.
Just basic rugby league football, but add a little bit of finesse, and it's a very sour drink for David Plange. Not for this fella though, Radlinski loves nothing better than to just surge, but you can see how the defence, they're not moving in, they're standing back. What are you doing? Let's see. Back on the inside. Lovely ball by Sean O'Loughlin. And then Connolly sent this man, as he so often has done throughout the years. But this defence is becoming a big problem now for David Plange and the Warrington side. Good effort in the opening 20, but they are just falling apart at the seams. He's happy. He's got a good quality suit. You can't say the same about Warrington at the moment.
Oh, sensational stuff from Wigan, and Radlinski with his second try. He got 2 tries here last year as well, that though in defeat. Now O'Neill missed from out on the touchline. It's about halfway between post and touchline this. What's it like from this angle? He's okay. There's 2 more points. 23 points to 0. And there's the half-time siren. And a huge mountain for Warrington to climb, but the Wigan supporters won't be worried about that. Lee Breers has shone in patches, but it's been Wigan with Lamb running the show and Radlinski and the other 2-try merchant, Jamie Ainscough, who have put daylight between themselves and the Warrington Wolves. David Plange has got some work to do, hasn't he? Wolves 0, Wigan 23. It's good to watch at times. This was the one that Ainscough flicked inside to Radlinski. 23-0 to Wigan. Time here at Warrington, and as you can see, the home side with much to do in the second half. Well, they managed it in their opening home game here against the Halifax Blue Sox. They were 16-0 down, went on to win the match 30 points to 22. And against St Helens, they were 34-12 down at half-time. They eventually lost the match 36-44. It will have to be a comeback of those proportions to get on top of the Wigan Warriors here this evening, because Wigan have looked very, very good, haven't they, with ball in hand. And well, Warrington now with it all to do. They had plenty of the possession, but the fact of the matter is, Steve-O, you cannot hope to win matches if you drop football near the opposition line and you don't complete your sets of 6 tackles.
Yeah, it's just a basic principle of rugby league, and I'm afraid that instead of David Plunge, it might be David Take the Plunge, because he really is struggling out there to get any effect on his defence. They started out pretty well. It's all about, you know, making these breaks and then taking your chances, and I'm afraid that very early in the match, Halliwell could do that. Now, Warrington have made 5 clean breaks against Wigan 10, and this was good work from Carney. Halliwell denied, but this is all about taking your chances, and it came about with a beautiful 40-20 by Adrian Lamb. Look at this. This is absolutely superb. It didn't look as though he had much follow-through on that, just like a little chip into the corner, but gets the length. And from this position, Ainscough scored his second try. Not the best from Smythe, as you can see, come off the whitewash. If you're going to do that, you're going to make sure you get the target. They failed to do that. So a good effort as regards this Wigan outfit. As we mentioned before the kickoff, Stuart Raper said that they're a little bit sluggish. They have a long way to go. Well, I think they're starting to climb that table very, very efficiently in that first 40 minutes. He'll want more and more of the same in the second half. As I say, will it be David Plunge or David Plunge?
Well, we will have to wait and see, but let's go down to Phil Clark now, and he's on the sideline. Phil, it's been a really efficient Wigan side, hasn't it? Do you see any hope for Warrington second half?
Well, I'm going to give Warrington the best bit of help that I can by saying that there's no way back for them. I always get it wrong, so there's certainly a chance, but at the moment they need somebody like Brian Bevan on the field for them to lift, I think, the class that's been the difference between the two sides. I think also the interesting thing for me is that you talked about the breaks, Steve-O. Warrington have made the breaks but been unable to turn them into tries, and one of the players, the best in Super League at doing it, is Chris Radlinski. I think when you're watching the second half, anybody at home, just watching when Wigan have possession, how much running Radlinski does off the ball, and that's the reason why he gets himself into so many positions to score the tries. But again, as you pointed out, Warrington's defence on wide out in the centre and wing positions has looked very, very vulnerable. And Wigan haven't really fully exploited it yet. They've tried it both on both sides. Ball's gone out of play into touch. So that's a dangerous element that David Plunge, you've got me there now with that one. David Plunge will have to tighten up on, but they certainly need a massive lift. Maybe again, Lee Breer's 40-20 can give them the field position with which they can put some points on the board.
Well, we've renamed him. David Plunge is the Warrington coach, and well, he will have to really plunge into them in the dressing room now if they are going to come back into this match. But Clark has given them the greatest incentive, says there's no chance. That's the watch that will go to tonight's man of the match. I don't know how many watches Adrian Lamb has had over his Wigan career, but he must be a front runner just now for that one. Right, we had a great match at St Helens last night. I hope you enjoyed it on Sky Sports with us. There were 2 other games being played at the same time. We've got the highlights coming up for you now, beginning with the Wakefield Leeds game. Rod Studge, your reporter.
Heartbreak for the Wildcats and relief for the Rhinos after one of the most bizarre matches of Super League 7. Wakefield were in control for all but a few minutes of it, having led 10-0 early on after a double whammy from highly rated Gareth Ellis. The tries kept on coming at regular intervals. Chev Walker and Ian Knott traded touchdowns before Knott was stretchered off. And 10 minutes before the break, Carl Kirkpatrick awarded Carl Pratt a penalty try after ball stealing over the try line, 16-10. It took Leeds just a minute of the second half to tie it up at 16-all. The Yorkshire captain Ryan Sheridan did the damage, but the Rhinos were level for just 7 minutes as Peter Rowe's side regained the lead and took control with 2 scores in 4 minutes from Chris Tassel and Neil Law. But the Rhinos weren't done with. Almost inevitably, Willie Poaching returned to haunt his old club, biting the hand that used to feed him to cut the lead. And straight from the kick-off, Chev Walker made his a double on the night to put Leeds in front for the first time at Bellevue. Willie Poaching had a hand in it again before Kevin Sinford and Mark Calderwood continued the movement at breakneck pace. Walker the finisher. Marty Moana replied for the Wildcats almost immediately, ironically after an error by Poaching, and Wakefield must have harboured hopes of pulling clear of Salford at the foot of the table. Rob Burrow burst off the subs bench to level it up at 32 points all, and then with just 3 minutes left, surprise Great Britain call-up Carl Pratt scored the try of the game to win the game in sensational fashion. Leeds snapped their 2-game losing streak to go third in the table, just 4 points off the pace, but Wakefield must be wondering how on earth they scored 6 tries and led with 10 minutes left and still lost. Hull ended one of Rugby League's longest losing streaks by winning at Castleford for the first time in 17 years to keep themselves in the thick of the playoff race. Ironically, it looked like being another nightmare night at the Jungle when Cass took a 3-minute lead through Mitch Healy. But by the break, the Early Birds led 12-4. The Tigers not the first team to be kicked into submission by Jason Smith. Hooker Lee Jackson was the first beneficiary of the master try maker. Wayne Barton then had a try disallowed for a double movement before Smith did it again. This time it was the fit again Gareth Rayner who flew through the air with the greatest of ease to pick up a try from Smith's kick. The side swapped second-half penalty goals before the inspirational Danny Orr put the Tigers very much back in the hunt. The try made and converted by Wayne Bartrim, and suddenly there was just 2 points in it and the match was back in the balance. But Hull did more than just hang on for what could be a priceless 2 points in the end-of-season race for playoff places. Toa Koelov has rightly earned a reputation for being a top try poacher, and he did it again in the closing minutes. Lee Harlan was the man who had his pocket picked, and Sean McRae's side celebrated a historic win.
Highlights of the matches played in the Tetley Super League yesterday, and I hope, as I say, that you enjoyed our game at St Helens as well. That was an absolute cracker. Now, Wigan are aiming to reclaim third place this evening, and they're well on the way to doing exactly that. 23-0 they lead. Warrington, though, they're known in these parts as a second-half side. We shall see. Warrington Wolves 0, Wigan Warriors 23. The grim half-time reading for Warrington supporters. They're only 2 points ahead of bottom club Salford. Wakefield, as we saw at half-time, they lost last night against Leeds Rhinos. This was a golden opportunity for Warrington to try and put a little bit of daylight between themselves and the bottom two. But so far, it's all gone horribly off-key for David Plange's side, though they have been known to stage second-half fightbacks before this season. They're coming from an impossible position, though, it would seem, 23-0 against one of the best teams in the competition. Phil Clark has already written them off. Is Steve-O going to add petrol to the fire?
Not really. As you say, there's been a few occasions this season that the Wolves have fought back. And to imagine what can happen in the half-time discussion. Remember, let's not forget the old Lancashire-Yorkshire situation when it looked as though Lancashire was going to run away with it. And they fought back at the White Rose.
Don't forget 7 days ago, Leeds, big second-half comeback against Widnes, and Lee Penny lost that.
Well, did he catch it before it hit the ground? And like Julian O'Neill is looking at the touch judge. Oh, that's got to be a knock-on.
Not given.
Well, it's quite clear, isn't it?
Not given. Is it the little turn of fate that Warrington need? Breers' short pass to Domick.
Well, that had a red cross all over that pass.
And Pozzard, long strides, but halted by a very good tackle low down by O'Neill. And here is Nathan Wood. It's with Guisset now. That's 4 tackles gone. Adrian Lamb with the 4th tackle, this set of 6. Here is Lee Breers. Back on the inside to Mark Hilturn. Well, again, it's a rumbustious start for Warrington, but they need to transfer this possession into points early on, and well, there's simply nobody jumping then. Ben Westwood really waved the white flag, and Paul Johnson was able to just pick that ball out of the sky with ease.
That was a poor effort. You just mentioned, Eddie, that no one seems to be looking for the football, and we haven't seen much running on the angle from Lee Breers. They're doing okay in the kicking department, but they need a little bit more than that. I mentioned just before the half-time break, 2 halfbacks, Breers and Nathan Wood, they've really got to get something going, and get something going pretty quickly.
Well, you notice that Warrington have made a change early in this second half, and Lee Penny has come on for his first match in 8 weeks, and here he is now with his second touch. Let's get what was said in the sheds at half-time. Bill?
Well, Warrington Wolves coach David Plange there really wanting more enthusiasm and commitment from his side. They need that at the start of the second half if they're going to get back into this game. Not happy with the level they showed of those two elements in the first 40 minutes. If they can find that, then maybe they can find a weakness in this Wigan defence and claw their way back into this game. But they're going to have to do it without two of their most important players, with Darren Burns off injured and John Clark. Both of those players have got arm injuries, so that really means the Wolves are up against it. Stuart Raper, meanwhile, by comparison, really pleased with the first 40 minutes of his side's effort, but he's looking for a complete second 40 minutes as well. He's been crying out for a complete 80 minutes from his team this season. I don't think he's yet seen one. He's hoping that tonight will be the night. He wants them to be ruthless as well. They're dominating the game. He wants them to carry on and really see off these Warrington Wolves.
Forward pass called there by touch judge and referee. And what bothers a lot of people in Warrington about the predicament that this club find themselves in at the moment, they have a new stadium due to be, well, started being built towards the back end of this year, and there's a horrible feeling amongst the local community that they might be taking it down into the Northern Ford Premiership, and there's not much, I'm afraid, that we've seen in the first half to dispel those fears.
Very lethargic, aren't they? It was okay for the first 20 minutes, but again, this defensive pattern, just all at sea. It's as though they're not talking to each other.
This is Adrian Lamb, and that ball flicked off a hand.
Back to
0 on the tackle count. It was touched in flight by Warrington. So here come Wigan with Ferner. Oh, where's the defence? And no wonder the crowd's booing. No wonder the Warrington crowd are getting on the backs of the players. Ferner, a stroll in, and David Plange and Paul Derbyshire, well, they're hitting the buffers, I'm afraid.
Poor defence, didn't know what they was doing. Westwood certainly touched that ball. That's the reason why Steve Ganton allowed another 6 to be played on. But very slow, they make the tackle. They're not really concerned. Look, there was 4 men in and around the play the ball area, and there was not a finger laid on the big fella. David Ferner through, well, it wasn't more of a dummy, it was just a little shimmy with the shoulder. It was sufficient. And the Warriors on the rampage. But I must say, it isn't as though they've got the Great Wall of China between them.
Now Julian O'Neill is bang in front of the sticks again. Well, they have problems, Warrington. O'Neill, bang in front. Another 2 points to the Wigan total, 29-0.
Well, this is a point that I'm sure Stuart Raper will get the message out to his players, is that, you know, march on, don't let complacency set in. Just because that was a soft try, it often brings that about. As Bill Arthur mentioned, that Stuart Raper wanted a little bit more fire, really just rub their noses in it from this Warrington side, but they looked, the shot underneath the stick, Teddy, when they were kicking the conversion, I think said it all. Their body language is very much a defeatist attitude.
Well, more changes for David Plange. Wigan, they were in no mood to hold back here, because come the end of this season, points difference could be so important to the club sitting first, second, third. It's so tight up at the top. And that's another attempted 40-20 by Adrian Lamb. Penny's after it. Carney is breathing down his neck again. Look at the chase from Wigan. Well, Johnson was a bit robust with the challenge.
Certainly was, but there were 5 men there. There's a difference between the eagerness between the sides. They wanted it. Oh, well, that was a penalty. Brere's trying to play the ball and missed it completely.
I'm not so sure that Werner had anything to do with that. I think Brere's whipped himself up.
Was hanging off Werner's shirt. Either way, they need something, and they need it very, very quickly.
A better run from Westwood. Werner with the tackle. Here's Guisset. They need an injection of confidence, Warrington, quickly. This is Domic. Fozzard, flick pass, ducks under one, tries to drive it in again, does Paul Wood. Domic, a dab through by Breers, try!
Good kick.
Try for Halliwell.
Tremendous little grubber kick there from Lee Breers.
Well, just what they wanted, maybe. As I say, an injection of confidence, the grubber kick from Breers, and Halliwell, the fleetest of foot. Fleetest of feet.
Fleetest of foot. Well. Carney just had a position slightly, and Halliwell made him pay. But it was a beautifully weighted kick there from Lee Breers. Notice how he kicked the ball as well, not end on end. He made it just roll, and that will please him. There's not much to cheer about in the first 40. And I suppose he wasn't too happy with the opening 3 minutes when Ferner just barely threw a dummy and just strolled across. Well, it's amazing what a try can do. And let's hope that now we could get a lot more enthusiasm coming from this Warrington side. They certainly needed something. Well, that'll be it.
It was a 58-4 defeat at Wigan just before the Challenge Cup final. Wigan that night lacking 6 regulars. They're lacking 3 tonight. And Breers here with the kick. And he's missed it. Well, he can't believe it.
Well, neither can I. I thought that was over. I thought it was on the right-hand side as we were looking at it there, from where Breers were kicking. I honestly thought that it was over, that it was in. Oh, I think they've been badly done to there.
Well, it's an imaginary line that the touch judges have got to draw up above those posts. And again, camera angles play tricks, but Breers was convinced, wasn't he? The try from Halliwell.
So was I.
Yes, you were. Oh, that's out on the full. It is. Well, Julian O'Neill just lost his bearings for a moment. Penalty on halfway to Warrington.
No doubt about it. Good meter over the dead ball line. It surprised Julian O'Neill. 2 balls on the pitch. Now we're down to 1.
Now we're down to none because Breers has hammered it into the stand on the far side. Come back again, and here come Warrington once more. Oof, big hit again by Ferner, and they say he lost it.
I think he did as well. Paul Wood lost control of it. Oh, a little bit of fancy work with the pat cake hands.
This is Breers. Now it's Fozzard. Here is Penny. Suddenly Warrington with a little urgency after that try. And Domic back on the inside, but went without it, did Marquette. They have it back with Ferner Wigan, and they have men out wide, and O'Neill's taking them on. Breers getting to him.
Good job as well. Not the best pass on the inside.
I don't know how many times they've done that tonight, Steve-O. Turn the ball back inside, and the man who should receive it, put it down.
Well, the biggest problem about utilising a move like that, you've got to make sure that there's another runner creating the dummy to confuse the defence. One-on-one, the defence will pick it up easy.
Back here. Come on.
Radlinski gets to his feet. Plays the ball to Newton. O'Loughlin fires the pass to Connolly. Connolly is tackled by David Olstead. And here is Cassidy again. Olstead's after him once more, spins him, and with a little bit of help from Paul Wood, who's making his 40th appearance for Warrington tonight, get him down. They wanted the kick out wide from Lamb, and Carney's got it. Palms it back straight into the arms of the Warrington man. And it's Dally Halliwell.
Well, I must say that David Olstead, who started this game at full-back, now in a more customary position in the 3 quarters, with the fact that they brought Lee Penny on. And that may add a little bit more fire and brimstone in the Wolves' side.
And here they come with Paul Noon.
Far too much one-out football, though.
Now it's Guisset, the French international. Last one. Bit of interference there by O'Neill. Breers. It's on the last. That's a great ball to Domic. Domic, and good backing up here from Wood. And Paul Wood touches down behind the sticks. Well, Warrington, this team that surrenders in the first 40 minutes and from somewhere gets something during the half-time break.
Well, he's worked hard, the loose forward, Sid Domick. And it was a good trail on the right-hand side, and offload was superb to this fellow, Wood. Breers did well. One of the few occasions that he's attempted to go and force the pressure on the defence. They thought he was going to kick, and it completely fooled them. Watch this. They think he's going to kick. Little bit of a dummy. They held off. It was Harvey Howard that should have had the man, and he'll enjoy that. And rightly so, Paul Wood. And again, that's the emotion that just runs right the way through.
He sent to Paul Derbyshire then, good try.
It was a good try as well, but maybe that is the key, because that's the first occasion that Lee Breers, the man that's putting the conversion over, has actually attempted to run at the defence. He did very little of that in the first half. And as I mentioned before, the try from Halliwell, it was a kick from Breers as well that created it. Well, and who knows, are we in for a great fight back?
You never say never with this Warrington side, but Paul Wood, he is a man who scores against only the best. Bradford home and away, St Helens, and now Wigan. And here come Warrington. They've suddenly got a spring in their step. It's Nathan Wood.
Good work from Guisset there. They were doing exactly what Wigan were doing in the first half, hitting the tackle. Oh, that could have been obstruction.
Referee saw it differently. Domick falls as he plays the ball. This is Wood. Now it's with Noon. He offloads. Here comes Westwood. Well, they've been pumped up at last, Warrington. They're giving their crowd something to shout about. Breers. Guisset. Guisset. Tackled by Cassidy. Last one.
They've got to apply a pressure kick now. They've got to make sure that it works.
And there it is from Breers. It's a high hanging kick. Underneath it, Carney claims it and diffuses the bomb in the in-goal area.
Super take.
Great take. And, well, Phil Clark wrote Warrington off at half-time. They've scored 10 points. Yeah, Clarky, you've got a smashing track record.
David Plange wants to know if I go in the dressing room next time they get into this situation. I don't think we should be too hard either on Warrington. You know, Wigan do have the luxury of spending 3 times as much on players as the Warrington side, and they've had tremendous injuries this season, very little consistency in the team selection. But I wonder really, where they've had so many losses this year, whether subconsciously they don't have the confidence to go from the start, and really when the pressure's not on them and the scoreboard's really heavily against them, they then play with a freedom and a flair that allows them to get some points. Phil,
I hesitate to ask you this question, but who are you tipping on July the 12th, Australia or Great Britain?
I'll tell you later.
You've ducked it. Thought you might. They've looked a touch forward from O'Neill.
More than a touch. Domick looked around at the touch, Judge.
Last tackle here for Wigan. Here's O'Neill, floating the kick out wide. It's bounced, touching goal.
Well, I made the comment that when Ferner just strolled in for the try after just 2 minutes of the restart, that complacency would be the key factor for Stuart Raper. And I think he will be getting a message out now saying, hey, come on, fellas, we really have got to dig deep. It's not over yet. There's plenty of time left. Ooh, that was a big high one from Harvey Howard.
Good job that Paul Wood ducked. This is Paul Noon. Howard and Lamb.
Well, the substitutes are doing the job. David Plange not frightened to use them, and they're certainly gelling together a lot better than they did in the first half.
Lawton takes the tackle from Lamb. Here goes Nathan Wood. It's now with Lee Breers. Tapping the line again. A little stab through by Breers. Badlinski picks it up and was about to launch another Wigan attack, but Halliwell, he's played the ball to nobody. How many times have you seen that lately?
Well, he pushed Johnson out of the way. If Paul Johnson was pushed out of the way, that really shouldn't have been allowed. You're not allowed to interfere with anyone. He can't believe it, Stuart Raper, and neither can I.
Well, Warrington, a dab towards the in-goal area, and Ainscough is there, and Ainscough will let it go, just tapping it over the dead ball line, and David Plange is shouting and screaming, and Stuart Raper is a little more animated than he was in the first half.
This is a great kick again from Lee Breers. Ainscough took the gamble, but realised that Smythe was just sniffing around. He's pumped up, is Lee Breers. And I think the mere fact that their own fans gave them the real bird as they went off at half-time, that must have sunk into their brain box and hurt them deeply.
And they certainly got the bird when Ferner went over for his try at the start of this second half. Now here's Fozzard again. He takes on O'Loughlin. The young man stands firm. Interesting, O'Loughlin, he's brother-in-law of Andrew Farrell, filling in Andy's loose forward role tonight. And there he is again, another good tackle.
Well, we just saw another run there from the big fella, Nick Fozzard.
It's O'Loughlin's first start, by the way, for Wigan, so this could be classed as his full debut for the club. Now it's with Breers. Oof.
Just making that point, Eddie, about young Fozzard, not young, but Fozzard himself, is the fact that he shows no fear. He'd run through a brick wall.
Wood, they're running more angles now, Warrington. Here's Rob Smythe. He's running backwards across the field of play. Breers slips the tackle from Lamb. It's with Domick. Back on the inside it comes. This is Ben Westwood. Penny has joined the line. Suddenly Warrington are finding their feet. Their crowd are finding their voice. Breers, long pass out wide.
Gotta be a try.
It must be in.
Yeah.
He is. Paul Noon. Try is given for Warrington. And the fight back begins. Well, it's gathering pace, never mind begins.
21 minutes past 8, it's a long way from midday, but I can assure you that it's high noon for the Wolves. They needed it. Beautiful long pass out there from Breers. There was nothing that Ainscough could do about it. Noon showed all the strength, but what skill there from Lee Breers, the Warrington skipper. Oh, we have a real fight back. Absolutely excited is that man. What must have been going through the veins in that first 40 minutes. And it's an amazing factor. Get all of your players. And he probably said, look, if you don't produce, I'm going to replace you. They're a different side since they brought on the substitutes.
Yes, Wood and Noon have made a change, and so has Penny operating at full back. Now Breers with the kick. It's 14:29, and Breers this time has made no mistake. It's 16:29.
Doesn't look happy, does he? Stuart Raper. And he knows that his side has just taken the foot off the gas. David Planche is flying high. Never mind David Planche, as we said at half-time. But Paul Noon there.
We've seen some comebacks, haven't we, in the Super League and in the Origin series over the past couple of weeks. And this is another one that's building momentum. Fozzard, as Steve-O says, this kid knows no fear. He has come back from 3 broken arms and a life-threatening illness. But Nick Fozzard, well, he doesn't know when to wave the white flag. Tickle has come on, and Cassidy goes off for Wigan. Stuart Raper now just looking to tinker with his side and just steady the ship a bit, but Warrington are on the go here. This is Westwood. Suddenly Ben Westwood's become involved as well. Wood at dummy half, down the short side. And Halliwell flicks the ball back. It's play on. Westwood to Breers. Breers, another long ball. Olstead. Olstead should have given it to Smythe.
No, but Smythe should have come back on the inside. There was hardly any room out there on the right. Here's a kick from Breers.
Another kick out wide, looking for Halliwell. And
that'll be a try.
It's a try, is it? It's a try for Westwood. Referee will take a look.
He definitely dropped it. It went backwards towards Westwood.
David Planche thinks so too.
Well, this is absolutely amazing. Look at that. Lamb didn't even go for the football. And Carney goes for it and he whips the ball away. Now then, has the winger knocked on first? Halliwell goes up for the football. It's a pretty difficult one for the video referee.
Well, Halliwell leaves it behind, doesn't he? And it's
it looks that way.
Carney who looks like he's knocked on.
Well, he can't. Yeah, I think it's been dragged back. But look at Lamb. Lamb never went for it. He just
he tried to stop Westwood.
Yeah, he did.
Well, David Campbell's call in the video ref department.
Well, he did touch it first, did Halliwell. but he recovers. And you can do that. This has got to be TRY.
David Campbell is obviously not as convinced as you.
He does nudge the ball forward, does Halliwell, but then he regains it. You can do that. Watch it. Hits his hand, and then he'll lose it when it comes through onto his body. That's why they're doing it frame by frame.
They're trying to decide who it's come off.
Well, he's got a hand to it there, and then it's Carney that drags the ball away. Halliwell doesn't have it.
And Carney, does he drag it away and knock it forward?
I think he does. Well, I'm going to go for try. I had extensions all over the place last night. And
well,
I think we can get a spa pool, whirlpool in after this. So I'm going to go for it.
A try, you say?
TRY.
Ben Westwood hopes you are right. And here comes David Campbell's decision. Here it is. Oh, handover. You look shocked. You look as shocked as David planned.
Wouldn't you, living in a tent? Well, it was a big call, as we mentioned. It's a knock-on as far as they're concerned, and it's been deemed. He can't believe it. Yes, yes, he says. And then, oh no. It can be very cruel.
Little shake of the head. David Flange.
He certainly knocked it forward to Danny Halliwell, but I thought perhaps it caught it. But the video referee has obviously deemed that when he did knock on, it touched Carney's hand, so therefore it's got to be the knock-on. Right decision. To try telling these Warrington fans.
Well, that really would have got a head of steam up for Warrington, and I wonder whether they can just stand firm now after that disappointment. They have 18 minutes remaining. Lamb with another intelligent kick down the line.
Let's get out of here. That's the reason why he's done that. Stuart Raper cannot believe it. They've had little possession of the Warriors in this second half. And it just shows you the effect that it will have on any game when one side just keeps nudging away. And I must say, it's been a far better effort from Warrington in this second stanza.
Craig Smith is taking a spell in the blood bin, I think. He's wiped the blood off his eye himself. Doesn't believe he's cut.
Mr. Rees having a little bit of laugh with Terry O'Connor, who's trying to punch the ball away from him. And he tried 3 times to the big pop forward, and Breers grinned at him. It's been played in a wonderful spirit, and that is great to see.
Well, I thought that Steve Ganson had told Craig Smith to leave the field and get this sorted. Thought he was on his way to the blood bin. Bit of Vaseline or petroleum jelly. And this now is Lee Penny.
First, come on!
And did you see how Craig Smith wiped the Vaseline off onto a Warrington player's shirt? I'm not so sure that the hooker will be happy with that. Probably get that in his eyes the next time there's a scrum down. He's lost it. He definitely lost that ball.
He's injured his
Paul Wood, yeah. He certainly lost it, and it's been picked up by the official. Big hit from Smith and Johnson, and you can see there that they squeezed it away from him. Whether it was intentional or not by the big fella Craig Smith, we'll never know, but either way the crowd has just seen it on the big screen here. Don't like it.
Well, the smiles all round the scrum every time these two packs of forwards go down. Lee Breers, look at him, he's having a little word with somebody in the front row of Wigan. He's just had a word in the ear of Steve Ganson. Here is Julian O'Neill, gets the pass away to Radlinsky, and good tackling from Smythe, just held him up, and he was finished off by Olstead. Now then Aince goes down the line, looking for the hat-trick. Good tackle by Penny.
Oh, he's hurt his Penny. That was good work though by Ainscoe. They didn't expect that down that short line. Very good footwork indeed.
Good tackling by Noon on O'Loughlin. Newton gives it a bit of width to O'Neill. It goes further wide to Lamb. The runners have arrived. And this is Johnson!
Yes,
he scores!
What a wonderful second effort.
Fantastic effort.
Beauty, he says.
Fantastic effort from Paul Johnson, that. And that is his 50th try for Wigan. And it is one of the bravest that he has ever scored, because he carried men over the line with him, stretched the arm out and plonked it down.
This will show you the importance about running the angles. Watch for Adrian Lamb come at one angle and Johnson come back on the inside. I mentioned the fact how it is important to use a dummy runner. On this occasion, it was a big second rower, David Furner. Watch for Furner coming through, then back on the inside. It was sufficient just to take the defence out to the left-hand side. But as Eddie mentioned, that was a tough try to score. And he's a tough boy, you little beauty.
That's exactly what he said, Paul Johnson. And
I haven't lived in Australia for that long, Eddie, not to know what you little beauties go.
He's immediately taken from the field is Paul Johnson to be replaced. And I think Stuart Raper believed that that just might have taken the sting out of the Warrington revival. So O'Neill with another conversion attempt. 4 successful kicks so far tonight for Julian O'Neill. Make that 5 successful kicks for Julian O'Neill. 35-16.
Just shows you the quality of this Wigan outfit, though. As I mentioned, the fact they'd had little possession, but when they do have it, they make it pay. That was a great effort that went a little bit far too high on Johnson, and not even 3 could get to him. In a good position as well. Steve Ganson didn't have any bother about going to the screen, didn't need it. He was right on the spot. Johnny on the spot, or Steve in the spot.
Safe and sound under the kickoff was Radlinski. That was Bybee. And we've got some news on Paul Johnson taken off after that try, Bill.
Nothing too serious, nothing to be worried about on the Paul Johnson front. I think just precautionary, really. Wigan may be feeling that the job is done now. They've seen off that Wolves threat, although it's possibly too soon to assume that. But Paul Johnson being withdrawn from the fray, just a bit of an old knee problem causing him a bit of discomfort, that's all.
Well, Johnson, of course, another of the men whose task on the 12th of July is to beat Australia. Let's hope it's not too serious. Let's hope that Andrew Farrell's groin injury isn't too problematical either. Kick over the top is from Julian O'Neill.
It's a good one as well. It took a right angle.
It did.
Very last moment.
Breers wasn't interested, was he?
But that's good tactics. You know, they were being under the cosh for about 10 to 15 minutes. And on this left-hand side, it was a kick from Adrian Lamb that just relieved the pressure. This time, Julian O'Neill does exactly the same. And the way this one line of defence has been working for the Warriors for most of the game, they will be looking to force the error.
Well, Warrington have got to take risks. Olstead tackled there by Connolly. Away he goes again, Domick.
Working overtime, but not much offloading going off by this Warrington side in the forwards. As I mentioned earlier, there's been far too much one-out rugby league football.
And Breers has gone for another 40-20 here.
He's got it.
Well, has he?
Yep.
40-20, the referee has just called, and he's given head and feet to Warrington. Certainly the kick was inside the 20, and oh yes, well in.
You don't believe me sometimes, do you?
Well, you said a try for no try before, and I've got to look around you, and that's difficult enough.
Get a replay off my head, can't you?
2 40-20s apiece between Lamb and Breers, that personal battle. But the major event is the match itself. That ball went backwards, says Steve Ganson, so Lee Penny can retain possession for Warrington. Which he does under pressure.
Most important factor now, Stuart Raper knows that when they're under the cosh here, they've got to show their class. And can they do that? They've got to make the defence.
Oh, intercepted by Connolly. Fozzard with the offload. Connolly looking for it.
Well, they have to force a pass at 35-16. Fozzard did well, upper body strength, got his arms clear. There's a problem for Gary Connolly.
You made the point, didn't you, that and Connolly is hurt and it looks like the wrist. You made the point that the Warrington forwards were a bit one out and weren't doing too much offloading. As soon as they come up with an offload, it's a Connolly interception.
Well, the experience showing there. Been around a long while as this fella, but let's hope it's nothing serious.
David Ferner wide to O'Neill, and O'Neill's taking them on. Domick, though, trying to force him over the line.
Oh, he did well there. Did his hand in it?
He did well then, O'Neill. Here's Carney. 10 minutes to go then here.
He's proved very effective, hasn't he, O'Neill? He has been playing as a loose forward position, taking the place of Andy Farrell.
That's a great chip from Adrian Lamb, and Ainscough will score.
Well, he'll go to the screen.
It'll be the hat-trick.
Did the hand touch the whitewash before he got it down? It's very, very close. One hand got onto the ball, that's okay, but watch the other hand. Does the fingertips touch the whitewash?
We're having a look, mate. Yeah. Hang on.
There's the incident where he never played the ball.
It's not played, is it, at all?
He's lost it. So this will be no try. Irrespective, they won't even bother going to looking at anything else. And rightly so. No try.
Oh, Ainscogh's denied a hat-trick, I think.
They'll come back for the scrum. N-O-T-R-Y.
10-metre scrum defence. Had to play the ball.
Yeah, he definitely lost it. Little doubt in any way. That's good work as well by the video referee. No point in just wasting time looking at whether he got there or not. Would have been interesting though. Just had a sneaky feeling that Ainscough may have hit that whitewash.
Domick looking to offload there. Waiting for the second phase of attack that never came. Penny now from dummy half. Good tackling by Danny Tickle. Wood to Hilton. Whoops, that was high from Bybee, and the referee's got him.
Well, we were saying that it was played in a wonderful spirit. Both sides have been grinning at each other, but I'm not so sure that Mr. Hilton will afford a smile for this fella.
And I'll tell you something, that's criminal from Breers. He's just gone for the penalty and he's missed touch.
Says it all.
Here's Bybee, who conceded the penalty, but it mattered naught because Breer's kick was... He was trying to be too cute, actually. He was trying to get too much distance on it.
Come on, Dale Walton. Well done, mate.
Carney plays the ball. Here is Lamb and Ferner on his inside.
Well, there's something with David Plange and coach perhaps to work on in this second half performance.
Oh, well, Warrington shoot out of the line and go for the interception or go for the man. They've got to make one or the other, and three of them missed O'Loughlin then. This is the last tackle, though, for Wigan here, this set of six. Lamb, kicker, supreme.
Just basic rugby league football, that's all that's needed. He knows at 35-16, clock ticking away. You don't have to come up with a performance of your life, they just have to be professional. That's what these guys are, especially this fella.
Well, 35-16, it's a much better performance from Warrington in this second half, but if you look at that table, Steve-O, Warrington are deep in trouble. Wakefield and Salford below them. Salford are at Widnes tomorrow. That's a pretty important match for both clubs. And as I say, they have never been out of the top flight, Warrington, in all their history.
Well, they'll fight, that is for sure. They'll fight to the bitter end.
4 eras of 2 or 3 division rugby league, Warrington have remained a top flight force, which in fairness you cannot say about Wigan. They went down once upon a time.
Well, I don't know about the history of this club, but I don't think they've ever received the wooden spoon by finishing last in the table.
No, they didn't. No, they haven't. They came very close when there was once 3 teams to be relegated. They finished 4th bottom.
Well done, Dave.
That was about as close as they came. That was 88-89. This now is a real war of attrition for Warrington, for these players. New faces like Westwood and Nathan Wood.
Come on! Leave the kick
Well,
out.
Plange will be pleased with the fact that
Good kick from Breers.
from the bench, Penny, Gise, Wood and Noon.
No pressure on Radlinski though, but Gise with the follow-up. High-hanging kick. There was bags of time for Warrington to put pressure on the catcher Radlinski, but it just wasn't there.
Here, Nick.
There was good shielding there. They had 3 men through. There was only Gise running through, yeah. And I just get the impression, Eddie, that Wigan are just pacing themselves through in these latter stages of the game. They know they've got it all wrapped up. They had a little bit of a wobble when Warrington staged something back, and you've got to go back to that decision in regards to the no try from Westwood. If that had been scored and given by the video referee, who knows?
Yes, indeed, who knows? But it looks now like an easy Wigan win. Phil Clark wrote Warrington off at half-time, but to be fair, Phil, Warrington have showed a bit of fight in the second 40, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and that controversial no try really was when the bubble burst for the Wolves, but a much better performance from them. And really, I suppose the difficult thing is now, how do you create belief in a side that keeps losing week after week? Well, they tend to, when there's nothing to play for it, and the scoreboard's against them as I stare, really, they didn't seem much happier. But David Plange's got to address that issue and somehow instill the players a confidence, really, in which to go from the very first minute of the game.
Absolutely, and it's the same problem for Peter Rowe at Wakefield and indeed Carl Harrison at Salford. I think, Steve-O, it's between the 3 at the foot of the table now who takes the unwanted drop, even at this midpoint of the season that we're at.
Well, you would think so.
Lamb's gone for another 40-20. He's
He's
gone
had a
for
fine
another
game.
one.
Oh, yes. He got
Breers.
through, got through
Oh,
it.
Penny.
Oh. Either way, Wigan will get possession.
Well, the touch judge says it was in touch, and for all that effort from Breers.
Well, I'm not so sure. I think Breers gets it before it... Yeah, it was. It hit the whitewash. And his foot wasn't over the line. This is an interesting one. Yeah, now if it had touched the ball, Eddie, with his foot on the whitewash, then it wouldn't have been a 40-20. It's like what they do in the dead in goal area. Not a lot of people realise it's not just a dead in goal area. You can utilise that. You can use it in any way on the perimeter.
Well, Lamb to O'Neill, and Warrington now have it all on to keep this scoreline at least respectable. Cassidy, dummy half. O'Loughlin on his full debut looking for the try. Just held up short.
And full credit to that youngster. He's played well. He's done
Cassidy
his part.
to Lamb. Oh, knock on either way. The first knock on against Wigan.
Lamb screaming at the official Steve Ganson that there was a fingertip there, and I think perhaps it was, but I think the ball played the man. Let's have a little look at it here, head on. Yeah, I think it ball played against David Alstead.
And it was off Werner's chest.
Another thing that David Plange will be quite happy with, Eddie, is the fact that Lee Penny is back from injury, because I have to be fair, David Alstead looked a little bit uncomfortable in that position at fullback. He's played a lot better, coming in the accustomed role into the three-quarter line.
There is Alstead, and it's Lee Penny's first match since the defeat, coincidentally, at Wigan in April.
Oh, that's a bad mistake.
Nathan Wood brought to Warrington from Wakefield.
Well, he knew what he wanted to do, race away from the dummy half position. They haven't had many do that throughout this game.
Nathan Wood, who was at the Roosters alongside Adrian Lamb. They were rivals for the spot at one stage of their careers.
Come on, David, get it in.
Lamb to O'Neill. And O'Neill going for the corner. Man in support. Carney. Try too easy, I'm afraid. Warrington sleeping at vital moments of this match, and it's cost them dear.
Well, it's been a wonderful ploy. Stuart Raper has applied in this game. Very much from the start of the match. Julian O'Neill has been working out wide. He threw the dummy, got the half break. Carney, as ever, pretty safe hands on that occasion. Bit of a dummy. They don't have the speed that he had, Julian O'Neill, in his younger days. But if you can still create a try like that, the fans will love you forever, including the coach. He knows that was a top try. Well presented to this fella.
Ryan Carney with the 7th Wigan try of the night. Warrington with 3 second-half efforts. It's been a much better second 40 minutes from Warrington, but not good enough to really test this Wigan side, though. I'm with you, that Westwood no try from the video referee took the sting out of Warrington's chances.
I must say, though, Eddie, that this fella here attempting the conversion, he came in for a lot of stick early in the season. He was, well, he looked a little bit overweight, I have to say, and he didn't look 100% fit, if I dare say that these days. But you've got to give this guy credit. He has worked hard, obviously, because he's had a big influence on this match.
And O'Neill here with the boot to try and convert the try, which he does. It's 41-16, and that conversion of Julian O'Neill, of the try by Carney, and here's a worrying statistic for Warrington. That's the 90th try that Warrington have conceded this year. That's where their problems lie, and he knows it, and it's an uphill battle.
I think there's a little bit more than that. Not just the defence, but there's a few areas he had to sort out. That'll do it.
Yes, a convincing win from Wigan in the end. The supporters know that Wigan are back in 3rd spot in the table, courtesy of this victory. But at least Warrington gave their fans something to cheer about in the second half, as they always tend to do. It was a much more spirited performance from them, but at the end of the day they were still well beaten, and they stay in the bottom 3 at the end of this weekend, and they'll just have to hope that Widnes do the job on Salford for them, otherwise there'll be a real scrap developing down there at the foot of the table. Warrington Wolves 16, Wigan Warriors 41. And needless to say, the man who engineered this Wigan victory is Adrian Lamb. He wins the Tissot watch. He's the man of the match, and he's with Bill.
Adrian, you made it look fairly comfortable, but you had to work to establish the platform, didn't you, tonight?
Yeah, we did. We were pretty strong in the first half, and we said at half-time that there's going to be a 10-minute period there where they come out and gave it a final fling, and they did that, so we got through it. Luckily, we got a decision to go our way there on the line, and sometimes you get those chances and sometimes you don't, and it's good for us tonight.
Do you think you maybe were guilty of taking your foot off the gas?
No, I think in those games, or games away from home, there is a 10 or 15-minute period where a team will just turn the game completely around, and you just got to know when that's happening, and we sort of identified it. All you can do is try and slow it down and get a bit of luck like we did, and it came our way.
Sure did. Congratulations on your man of the match.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for Tissot.
Let's move on to Coach Stuart Raper. Bring Stuart in, and you said at half-time to me that you wanted a full 80 minutes from your side for probably the first time this season. Do you think you got it?
Yeah, I do. You know, I mean, all credit to Warrington. They came back, and you know, I expected that. You know, on this ground, points it's fairly easy to come by teams, and you know, all the credit I said to them when they came back, but we stuck in there, and you know, I'm really proud of the guys. It's a tough effort here at Wallersville, and you know, I'm really proud of the guys today.
And they made it look very professional, didn't they? Very businesslike.
Well, that's right. That's what we planned. You know, I talked about all week, and you know, I mean, a lot of people were trying to say, can we play without Baz? And you know, I think we proved it tonight.
Sure did. Thanks, Stuart. Bring Phil Clark in now, and impressed with this Wigan very clinical performance.
Yeah, I think the one advantage that Wigan have over most of their rivals really in Super League is the speed throughout the whole squad. And I think we saw that demonstrated tonight. The other thing that I think impressed me tonight was the young players who came in for Wigan. Of course, Sean O'Loughlin and Stephen Weil we've seen before. And Ricky Barbie, I think, is also growing game on game. fact, probably the most improved player in the Wigan squad. So altogether, I think Wigan will be quite happy with that performance.
What about Warrington? I mean, earlier in the season they got blown away at the JJB, so maybe they can take a bit more out of tonight.
Yeah, I think that was the first game that David Plange was in charge. They lost by about a 54-point margin. Well, if the job of a coach is to improve his players, I'd say that David Plange is probably doing that. Got a lot closer tonight. We're very competitive with Wigan and did have a chance in the second half to get really back into the game. I also have massive admiration for Lee Breers, probably their standout player for most of the season. To carry on trying like that when you're against all the odds week on week takes a lot of mental toughness, and Lee's showing that right now, and he'll need to show it for the rest of the season to help Warrington avoid the drop.
Thanks, Phil. Well, the news from the touchline at the end of the game, or the sight at the touchline, might have given the Great Britain manager and the Great Britain coach one or two concerns. Paul Johnson with a bit of a knee problem. Terry Newton as well, another one making the trip to Australia with what he said was a bit of a back twinge. Let's hope those don't build into anything too serious. Back to you, Eddie.
Yes, here to that, Bill. Thanks very much. So that's the story of this win for Wigan over the Warrington Wolves. Depressing, really, for Warrington, Steve-O. They're in all sorts of trouble, I think.
Yeah, they certainly are. It was the first half that they were really awful. Their defence was, well, all at sea. And it's an amazing situation that straight after the restart, that as soon as Furner scored the try, it looked to me as though Wigan thought it was going to be a cakewalk. One thing that David Plange can look at, perhaps, is the way that they fought back. And who knows, if this try had been given to Ben Westwood, definitely loses control, and the video referee thought that it was a knock-on, it was going forward. And that maybe have just changed the complexion of the game, but full credit to this Wigan outfit. They showed their class very, very late. Once they got the possession, they were starved of it for long periods in that second half, but we saw that Julian O'Neill put the finishing touches back on the inside. Lovely ball to Carney. It's as simple as that, and as far as I'm concerned, here's the try coming up now. He took a lot of stick to this guy, and I gave him plenty myself, but he really has performed well. And it's an amazing thing, isn't it, that when the coach looked straight down the camera and said he wanted to prove to everybody that Wigan can play without Andy Farrell. I think he's proved that.
Yes, I think he has this evening. I wonder what David Plange makes of all this. A man with a problem, I think. Let's hear from him now with Bill.
David, terrific second half performance from your guys. I mean, you were on to wanting more commitment. You got that, but they left it too late.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, the thing against playing against sides like Wigan is you get heavily punished for errors. And, you know, we got to within contention, and we're coming out of our own half, and we come up with an error, and they score from the scrum. So, you know, you really learn, and you pay the price for doing that against quality side. You know, I thought the decision for the disallowed try could have probably gone either way. You know, the way I saw it, I thought Danny Halliwell had caught the ball, and Brian Carney took it off him and dropped it, and, you know, Ben Westwood picked it up, and, you know, I thought it could have been a legitimate try, but, you know, sometimes the decisions go for you, sometimes they go against you, and, you know, that would have brought it back to within one score, and, you know, it would have made it a very, very interesting last 15 minutes, but, you know, it wasn't to be. You know, we conceded late on, which put a bit of a flower up on the scoreline, but, yeah, as you're quite right to say, you know, there was a lot of effort and a lot of commitment, and, you know, combined with that, we played quite a lot of football in the second half, so, you know, there was some pleasing points, but we've just got to be a little bit smarter and pay a little bit more respect to the football when we're playing against these sort of sides.
Thanks, David.
Well, he won't turn it in, that's for sure, David Plange. The battle will continue, and this is what this result means to the table. Well, the top 5 is settled, and Widnes will play Salford tomorrow, and London, they have a very important match against the Halifax Blue Sox, and that will round up round 16. But Warrington, as you see there, they've got a scrap to avoid relegation. Wigan, they will have their eyes on the top of the table, and it's not beyond them.
That they showed glimpses of classy play, and I think that Stuart Raven will be quite pleased with the fact that they dug deep a little bit later in that game. But as David Plange said, if they could have just got that little bit of luck, and maybe that try was given, then we could have had a great finish. But full credit to a classy side, and Wigan certainly are a very, very classy side indeed.
Okay, that's it then. That's the story of the weekend so far here on Sky Sports and the Super League. I trust you'll join us next week. Don't forget, it's a Thursday night for a match at Hull against Castleford, and then we're back on Saturday. We're down in the capital, London, against Hull. Till the next time, Wednesday Rugby League World. Bye-bye. Top 6 are wobbling, so suddenly Castleford Tigers have the sniff of the playoffs. We're going to have several stars missing, so this is a golden opportunity for Castleford to gain a third successive win under Graham Steadman for the first time. Now last night Bradford edged a thriller at Hull while St Helens were too good for London. So it's Bradford and St Helens clear at the top of the Tetley Super League.